Hi, my name is Casey Baker, and this is my final project. From looking back at all my past journals, I've found that I normally reflected on what stood out to me most during class. I would talk about a certain point that really opened my eyes and expanded my perspective around the deaf community. The journaling part of this class gave me time to digest what we learned that week and really wrap my head around the new information. I would then go on and write about what it was that I learned that week that allowed me to expand my knowledge. Lots of it dealt with how deaf people aren't less than, and that they are just simply speaking a different language. I think the journals really helped with the digestion and retention of the information we learned that week, and also the fact that the last question we were asked to answer in the journal was what we would do with this new information, and that got you to think even more about the topic. It made me think of a way to actually apply my learning into my life and how I can make an impact on others. I talked about how I will now step in when I see a bad interaction going on between a hearing person and a deaf individual. I could be there to support this deaf individual in what they are trying to do and accomplish, while also educating the hearing person on how they should go about handling the situation next time it happens. To be honest, everything we did in this class shifted my perspective because though it's disappointing, I used to think of deaf people as less than me when I was younger because they couldn't hear and I could. It was a really stubborn and ignorant way of thinking looking back on it as I have matured. My own sister has cerebral palsy, and my family and I were taking classes to learn sign language because that was a way she could communicate with us. She wasn't deaf, but was still learning this language because that's exactly what it is. It's just another language. Though my sister could only comprehend and learn the very basics of sign language because of her cognitive development. So technology soon took over for her as she could tap words on her iPads and create sentences to communicate with us. And when I think about this, I feel as though it relates to cochlear implants and that technology. Her iPad and cochlear implants take away the need to learn and use sign language, which can be a real big piece of someone's identity. In my sister's case, she couldn't learn enough sign language to where she would be speaking fluently in full sentences while also understanding someone speaking back to her. And technology stepped in to give her that access. So that's what also makes me think that there could be instances in someone's life where the cochlear implants would make sense. But again, that is their decision and only their decision. No one should be able to force that onto someone and take away their choice. Now, another question that was in the slideshows that really stuck out with me was where you grow up and who you surround yourself with affects your speaking and language you use. It never occurred to me to think about how that could be present in sign language. Like, I thought about how in different countries the sign language would be different, but it being different within the same country, that never crossed my mind. The slang I know and use is much different from those that I met from Vermont or Boston or from down south or the West Coast. We all have our unique accent, unique bucket of words that we use that others may not. I can't really remember the exact class and what the actual answer was, but I do remember talking about it in one of our group discussions. I remember talking with those around me, and we all agreed that it would be true that slang exists in sign language. I mean, all of it affects how we speak, economic status, where we were brought up, who we interacted with, our culture, our religion, and nowadays, social media. Now, talking about all this reminds me of the Lauren Gallimore Sims story. It's crazy how almost all kids have to go through finally interacting with another family who is not the same color, or even another person that's not the same color as they are. And it's like a cultural shock. Kids don't realize that being black is different from being white because it never gets discussed. People, kids won't understand how being deaf is different than being hearing. That doesn't get discussed. That makes that first encounter very difficult, but also very memorable. It's a kid's first step in understanding who they are and creating their own identity. I also want to talk about how the cultural film assignment shifted my perspective. I watched the movie Coda, and seeing how a hearing child grew up with a deaf family and all the struggles that she had to overcome was very inspiring, especially as a teen where you feel like you are being judged over every little thing. It must have been so hard to deal with people making fun of her deaf parents and brother. It gets me thinking about how I could be this person and make a positive impact on the world. I want to get this world to a place where respect should be given to any and everyone until they do something or they lose it. But off the bat, everyone deserves the same amount of respect until proven otherwise. Now, with my new and enhanced knowledge of deaf culture and ASL, I plan to spread what I know. I want people to know and understand what I now know and understand. I can spread awareness and educate others about deaf culture and the importance of ASL. I can reference people to videos, movies, shows, and articles in order to promote a more inclusive society. I can advocate and speak out against discrimination of deaf people. I can fight for equal access and opportunities for deaf individuals. An example of this is advocating for a closed captioning option on all TV, all movies, and all online content. I can push for employers to provide interpreters or captioning services for deaf employees. I myself can learn ASL and encourage others to do the same. Learning ASL can help people communicate with deaf individuals and help break down these communication barriers that often lead to isolation and exclusion of deaf individuals. I could volunteer for organizations that promote and support deaf culture. I know now my interactions with deaf people moving on will be different because before I used to try and baby them like they couldn't do anything for themselves. And now I know not to. I know that they are the same as me, other than the language they speak. I will help create a more inclusive and equitable society where everyone has an opportunity to prosper. Now, to be an ally to the deaf community, there are certain things we can do and things we can't do. What we can do is listen to and amplify the voices of ASL users. We can educate ourselves on deaf culture, history, and the experiences of deaf people. We can learn ASL to communicate directly with deaf people and help break down the communication barriers. We can advocate for equal access for deaf individuals. We can respect the diversity of deaf individuals and their communities. And finally, we can recognize our own biases and privileges and challenge them. What we can't do is speak for deaf people and claim to understand their experiences because we don't. We can't impose our own beliefs and solutions on the deaf community. We can't tokenize deaf people or their culture. We can't expect deaf individuals to conform to hearing norms and change their identity to fit into a hearing society. And lastly, we can ignore or dismiss the perspectives and needs of the deaf community. A true ally is someone who actively works to support and empower deaf people in their communities. This means that we can acknowledge and address the systemic barriers and discrimination faced by deaf individuals, as well as listen to the voices of deaf people themselves. A true ally is someone who's committed to learning, growing, and advocating for the rights of deaf individuals. We should all strive to be allies and make this world a better place for everyone. Thank you for listening.